When Hans Wilsdorf established Tudor in 1926, he envisioned a brand that would deliver Rolex quality at a more accessible price point. Nearly a century later, Tudor has evolved far beyond being simply the crown's younger sibling, particularly through its Black Bay collection that debuted in 2012. Fast forward just a couple years to 2018, which marked a pivotal year for Tudor, introducing both the Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay GMT. The BB58 quickly became the brand's most celebrated model, praised for its vintage-inspired 39mm proportions. Meanwhile, the Black Bay GMT challenged the market with a true traveler's watch, featuring a manufacturer movement at a compelling price point. But there was one consistent request from enthusiasts: how do we combine these two models into something more wearable? And if there's anything we've learned from Tudor over the years, it's that they have perfected their design format, truly listening to feedback and honing in on their customers' desires for each watch introduction and iteration. Right on cue, Tudor has answered that call with the 2024 release of the Black Bay 58 GMT. This isn't simply a case of dropping a GMT movement into a BB58 case either. It represents a genuine technical achievement. The new slimline movement, with Meta certification, refined case architecture, and thoughtful design evolution, demonstrates Tudor's growing technical prowess while maintaining their value proposition in an increasingly competitive market. We've worn, tested, and owned nearly every Tudor watch in the current catalog, and while we've included this Black Bay 58 GMT in some of our previous coverage, namely buyer's guides, we've yet to put together a dedicated review. After spending the last few weeks with the BB58 GMT on our wrists, we figured it was due time to put together our thoughts on one of 2024's most buzzed-about releases. At first glance, the Black Bay 58 GMT presents a familiar face to anyone versed in Tudor's design language. The black dial with gilt accents immediately recalls the original BB58, while the black and burgundy bezel inserts evokes memories of vintage GMT masters that have aged gracefully over the years. But it's in the details where this watch truly distinguishes itself from both its predecessors and competitors. Although we were certainly fans of the watch when it was first unveiled, it still managed to impress us in person. The watch looks phenomenal in hand, and feels like a piece that will patina nicely and, like a fine wine, grow more beautiful with age. The watch community quickly dubbed this the caffeine-free Diet Coke GMT, referencing its subdued interpretation of the classic black and red GMT colorway, although we much prefer the unofficial Iron Man nickname we've seen floating around. Where previous Coke bezels leaned into stark contrast, Tudor opts for a rich burgundy that shifts beautifully under different lighting conditions. It's a thoughtful choice that both pays homage to vintage references while creating something distinctly modern. When you first handle the watch, the refinements become immediately apparent. Where the standard Black Bay GMT and Black Bay Pro were noticeably thick at 14.6mm, this new 58 GMT feels markedly more refined. The case profile has been completely reconsidered. Gone is the prominent crown tube, replaced by a more elegant, flush-fitting crown that better matches the watch's overall proportions. And while these may seem like small changes, they aren't just aesthetic choices. They fundamentally transform how the watch wears on the wrist. And let's talk about those gilt elements for a moment. They're not the same as those found on the original BB58. In direct sunlight, they take on an almost rose gold tone, while in softer light, they present a warmer, more vintage-inspired hue. Of course, anyone that's kept tabs on this release knows that this has been the topic of much conversation among enthusiasts. But after wearing the watch these past few weeks, we feel that the gilt details give this GMT its own distinct character in Tudor's lineup. The case dimensions here tell a compelling story about Tudor's technical achievement: 39mm in diameter, 47.8mm lug-to-lug, and most crucially, 12.8mm thick. For context, that's just 0.9mm thicker than the time-only BB58, a remarkable feat considering the addition of a GMT movement. The case thickness becomes even more impressive when you consider that roughly 1mm of that height comes from the box sapphire crystal, meaning the actual case body wears even slimmer than the numbers would suggest. And it felt right at home on our wearer's 6.75-inch wrists seen here. The bezel deserves special attention, featuring more pronounced knurling than the previous BB58 models. It operates with 48 distinct clicks, each one precise and satisfying, with virtually no backplay. The black and burgundy aluminum insert lacks luminous material, but the gilt numerals provide excellent contrast in daylight conditions. The case finishing demonstrates Tudor's attention to detail, with brushed top surfaces contrasting against polished case sides. Meanwhile, a subtle polished bevel runs along the length of the case, adding refinement without compromising the tool watch aesthetic we all know and love. The screw-down crown has been completely redesigned, now sitting flush against the case without the exposed crown tube found on other Black Bay models. The crown action is precise and confidence-inspiring, with clearly defined positions for time setting and GMT adjustment. Perhaps most impressively, the watch maintains 200 meters of water resistance, double that of the current Rolex GMT Master 2. Under the box sapphire crystal, the matte black dial serves as a sophisticated canvas for Tudor's most refined gilt execution to date. A gilded minute track runs the dial's perimeter, while a mix of round and baton-style hour markers provide excellent depth and visual interest. Each marker features generous applications of cream-colored superluminova, creating a vintage-inspired look in daylight while maintaining strong nighttime legibility. Tudor's signature snowflake handset, a hallmark of the brand since 1969, is found for both the hour and GMT hands, while Tudor leaned on the BB54 design language for the lollipop seconds hand. However, the matching gilt tone of the GMT hand has sparked some debate among enthusiasts, as it can occasionally blend with the other hands in certain lighting conditions. And we can certainly understand this critique, as we've always been fans of the contrasting yellow and red GMT hands found on both the Black Bay Pro and Black Bay GMT respectively. The dial text has been notably refined compared to previous Black Bay models. You'll find only GMT and master chronometer at 6 o'clock, a welcome simplification that keeps the dial balanced and clean. The date window at the 3 o'clock features a matching cream-colored date wheel, demonstrating attention to detail that's often overlooked, and the date switches crisply both forwards and backwards as you adjust the local hour hand across midnight. As we previously mentioned, in varying light conditions, the dial reveals completely different personalities. Direct sunlight brings out an almost rose gold quality in the gilt elements, while overcast conditions create a warmer, more subdued appearance. The gilt finishing on the hands and markers has a subtle texture that catches light differently than the printed minute track, adding visual depth that's particularly noticeable when the watch moves on the wrist. The new manufacturer caliber MT5450-U represents one of Tudor's most significant technical achievements to date. Rather than simply modifying their existing GMT movement, Tudor developed this caliber from the ground up to solve a specific challenge: how to maintain true GMT functionality while also significantly reducing thickness on the wrist. This movement features a true flyer GMT function, allowing independent adjustment of the local hour hand while maintaining home time on the 24-hour hand. The date is linked to the local hour hand, moving forwards or backwards as you cross midnight, a practical feature that we appreciated while traveling with the watch. The METUS Master Chronometer certification is what really elevates this movement, as METUS certifications apply to the entire watch after the movement is first COSC certified, then cased, and then tested again in real-world conditions. And this isn't just about accuracy. Though the movement is certified for -0 + 5 seconds per day, it's a comprehensive assessment of the complete watch by the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology. The movement demonstrates resistance to magnetic fields up to 15,000 Gauss, maintains its power reserve for a minimum of 65 hours, and functions reliably under various temperature conditions. This level of certification at this price point is remarkable and serves as another feather in the cap for Tudor. The 20mm steel bracelet showcases Tudor's attention to both finishing and functionality. The 3-link design features brushed center links contrasting with polished outer links, and tapers elegantly to 18mm at the clasp, providing a comfortable balance of presence and wearability. Of course, we couldn't cover a Tudor without once again touching on the rivet-style construction, as it continues to spark debate among enthusiasts. And as we've mentioned before, we completely understand the critique here. They're faux, and they don't serve any purpose. We will say, however, that you don't really notice them while wearing the watch, so ultimately, it's never really bothered us too much, and it's going to come down to personal preference here. Tudor's beloved T-Fit clasp system, offering 8mm of tool-free micro-adjustment, is also present on the BB58 GMT. The system operates smoothly thanks to ceramic ball bearings, allowing easy adjustment throughout the day as your wrist size fluctuates with temperature and activity. The clasp operation is confidence-inspiring, with a solid click and no rattling or play during our use. And if steel bracelets aren't your thing, Tudor offers the BB58 GMT on a fitted rubber strap that maintains the same T-Fit functionality while also saving you a few $100s in the process. As we wrap up our review, we once again ask ourselves, is the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT worth it? And if so, who's the watch for? The combination of a new Flyer GMT functionality, METUS certification, 200 meters of water resistance, a T-Fit clasp, beautiful vintage styling, and an excellent build quality for all under $5,000 make the Tudor BB58 GMT one of the best value propositions on the market. And while Rolex has continued to ignore the calls for a Coke GMT, Tudor continues to do exactly the opposite. They're giving the market exactly what they want, and it's one of the things we love so much about Rolex's little brother. While we would never suggest settling for anything less than what you truly have your heart set upon, if you want the GMT Master, nothing will scratch that itch. The BB58 GMT feels like a reimagined Rolex 6542 and offers up a great, affordable alternative to the revered Rolex, coming in at nearly a third of the sticker price of the current GMT Master 2. Most importantly, it provides the vintage aesthetics that many of us know and love, but without the headache of owning an actual vintage watch. You get all of the reliability and benefits of modern watchmaking technology packed into a retro-inspired design. We'd also be remiss if we didn't at least mention the Longines Spirit Zulu Time, as it is a true contender for the GMT crown at this price point. We've been actively testing the more recently released titanium version, and if Tudor doesn't quite do it for you at this price point, Longines does not disappoint. The Black Bay 58 GMT proves that Tudor isn't just following in Rolex's footsteps, but charting their own course in modern watchmaking. While it may not be perfect for everyone, it delivers exactly what many enthusiasts have been asking for: a thoughtfully sized GMT with proper technical credentials at an accessible price point. In an era where many luxury watches have become increasingly unattainable, Tudor continues to demonstrate that excellence in watchmaking doesn't always require a five-figure investment. As always, we'd love to hear from you. Do you think the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT is the best Tudor to date? What direction would you like to see Tudor take from here? Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.